Joining us on the line tonight is a man very familiar to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I always say it every time we talk to him. He's the one who got us our start. We were his young boys at one point, way back when, but he's got another new venture going on in his life right now, and I'm always happy to welcome him on the line. He's one of my favorite people in the world, the one and only PJ Polacco. Just incredible. PJ, what's going on tonight, buddy?
How are you, man? It's so great to hear from you, man. Everything's going great over here. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always good to hear your voice. It's always good to kind of shoot the breeze, talk about some stuff, because there's a lot of things going on in the wrestling world, but a lot of things going on with Just Incredible as he's about to venture into the podcasting world again, but this time with a little bit of a twist, joining our brand, I don't know what he would be, our overlord, our brand boss, Vince Russo, on a brand new Patreon-based show talking AEW wrestling. PJ, you're looking forward to doing this new venture with Vinny Roo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. Look, I thrive on, guys like me. I've been in the business 27 years. And for guys like us, it's a little hard because, our time has passed and you see all this amazing stuff happening, all this positive stuff, and you really want to be a part of it. And you feel like, maybe I can't physically contribute the way I could have 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. But man, you can still contribute, like the Tommy Dreamers and the Bubba Ray Dudleys that do Busted Open, so on and so forth. And other people doing, successful podcasts. So, man, Vince Russo and I, it just really happened out of nowhere. He put out a tweet, and literally after 30 seconds, just right place, right time, out of him putting out the tweet of if any wrestler would be interested, I said, well, hell yeah. And I have some really loyal and faithful, amazing followers on my Twitter feed, and they bombarded Vince Russo. And we got to talking, and tomorrow is 10 a.m. We're going live, and I'm so excited, dude. It's like a kid in a candy store. It's like I'm wrestling again. Like I'm having a match on a big show. It's just, first of all, what I saw yesterday, I did watch both NXT and AEW, but I watched AEW like 3 times because that's my job now, is, to review the show. But wow, what a great time to be a pro wrestling fan, huh?
It's amazing.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, everybody's literally talking about it. It was trending all over the place, not just on Twitter, but on all the other social media platforms. I mean, I'm reading all these articles popping up here, doing research for the Triple Threat podcast, like looking at like CBS Sports and, Fox Sports and all these huge entities talking about wrestling. It's like, it's just kind of hard to wrap your head around, especially if you put yourself back 20 years ago and be like, well, this would never have happened in 98. You know what I mean? When the business was hot as a pistol, but now there's so much wrestling going on there that, anybody who kind of puts that think tank in motion, like how Vince Russo did, he put out that tweet, and look, he got you coming out of it, and you guys are going to be launching an AEW review show. Those things never hurt. They do very well, but I think you guys together, obviously there's probably a history there between you two. It's a great fit. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Look, he's a very controversial figure, and quite frankly, even though I might be the nicest guy in the world, I've had a very controversial past. I've known him since 1990, when he wrote under the pseudonym Vic Venom for real, for the magazine, before he was a writer for television. So that's how far I've been to go back 27 years. So it's going to be, he asked one thing. He said, look, I don't want you to be one of those guys that are still out there, trying to get a gig and being, maybe just be honest. Don't sugarcoat stuff. Just give your honest opinion from a 27. What he wants from me is a 27-year vet. What's my opinion? And it's just an opinion. Of course, everything's, opinion based. Nothing's fact. It's all subjective. But all he wants is legitimate opinion and no sugarcoating, no stroking anybody's egos. So that's what we're going to do, man. We're just going to talk pro wrestling. We're going to talk AEW. I've got a boatload of notes, dude. I literally sat here and last night as well. Pretty much a little bit of a sleepless night for me because I was so excited and jazzed just to see the product. Of writing down notes and little things that a lot of fans may not have even picked up on. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot that it's on Patreon. That it's only $3, by the way. That fans come along for the ride because it's going to be well worth it. I mean, the time we put into it and the content that you will get, for $3, that's a cup of coffee at Starbucks if you think about it. So it's really cool stuff, and I just hope that fans come along, they embrace it, and and they enjoy it. That's all it's about. I just want to make the fans enjoy it, and keep coming back.
Now, in '95, you were with the WWF while the WCW war began, and Nitro launched in August of '95. So you kind of got to see what it was like to be on the front lines when a new show was launching. What do you think is kind of the thought going through some of the guys' head now on both sides of the fence? Are they watching the other show, see how they're performing, or are they kind of focusing on what they're doing to make sure they put out their best product?
Yeah, that's a hell of a question. It's a loaded question. I honestly don't think they're. And this is, I'm going to go way in depth. I don't want to give too much away.
No, don't give too much. We'll save it for the Patreon. But I want to let's get your take.
I'll tell you one thing. They're, the first show is always, and then look, I'm a huge AEW mark. I love what they're doing. I love Cody. I love the Bucks. I love all that, what they're bringing to the table. They're changing the game, but I'm already seeing some things that aren't going to work on live network television when you get to because there were a lot of references last night from Shivani and Ross about first time wrestling has been on TNT since 2001 and blah blah blah, brother. But it doesn't. There's a lot of things that need to be tuned up. There's a lot of things I saw wrong. Not great. I mean, look, I don't want to take that old man negative route, but just no. But specifically from a production standpoint, and their production was impeccable as far as lighting, the way the crowd looked, amazing, like the super cool stage. But like you got, these kids are going to have to realize what this TV time means, and it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like it goes away real quick. So you have to really utilize these young men and women that are for probably the first time having national exposure to understand what it means to be on national television and how important to utilize that time is. And to get yourself over, to get your company over, whatever the job you're asked to do. That's of course the most important, paramount. But it's just a lot of. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a learning process for everybody, and Cody as well. And I don't know him personally. I think I met him maybe in passing once. I'm good friends with Dustin. I was good friends with his dad. Worked with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, back in ECW. God bless him. Cody has got the mind. He's got got everything it takes. But even for him, it's not going to, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to have to be learned in the process. And sometimes, man, you got to fall a couple times before you could realize, you know what I mean? You learn from your mistakes in anything in life. And it's a growing process. But I thought last night they came out the gate hot. What I didn't personally love too much was, it almost seemed like a pay-per-view, long, and I'm not against this, don't get me wrong. Great long matches, big build-ups, a lot of everything meant something, but you got to understand you're going 2 hours live now every week. So I know I get it. You want to hit it with a bang and you want to really get it out there. But it's going to be very curious to see how they get their talent over and how everybody there, is going to fit in and what role, everybody's going to play a role. We're all role players. Not everybody's a main eventer. They're going to figure out who those role players are and where their hierarchy is. And I did love the way it ended. Jack Swagger or Jack Hager or whatever, or Jake, you know what I mean, whatever.
Jake Hager, yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, he's a beast. He was money all along. I don't know how they dropped the ball on him, but that was a big surprise for me. I loved seeing him there. Moxley, of course, is just off the charts for me. I love him. I love his stuff. I love his energy. It's Jericho. He's just gold. I mean, he's timeless. 48 years old, dude.
Absolutely.
He's 3 years older than me, and he's still fucking crushing it. It's like, really, dude? You make, God damn it, But I mean, again, God bless them, and they're doing it, and he's over as anybody. So they got a really good formula. It's got to be more than the Bucks. It's got to be more than Cody. They're going to really have to go deep because 2 hours to fill every week in meaningful storylines and then selling pay-per-views, as they will be. This is going to be an interesting challenge. So it's just, again, I'm sure they have a business model. They have very smart, professional people, Tony Khan, his dad, people that run the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they do this stuff for a living. They know what they're doing. But kudos to the job they did.
Yeah.
Because guess what? AEW debut on TNT was everywhere. I saw it everywhere. I mean, it's almost like you couldn't miss it. So the job they're doing with their brand connections and their business partnerships, I mean, it's been fantastic. So, I'm hopeful for the future. Of course, WWE is never going to go anywhere. They're the benchmark. They always have been, always will be. But I think yesterday, I saw the numbers. I think it was like a 1.4 for AEW and like an 850,000.
Yeah.
For something like that.
Like a 0.8 or something like that. It was something in that range.
But I mean,
it's a lot of people still watching.
Amount.
Yeah, that's a lot of people still watching one singular, sports entertainment genre on one single night on two networks. So it's a lot of work right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and everybody who did that job, they did a great job. And like you said, I thought that the vibe, the arena looked amazing. I mean, it had that big fight feel to it. And let's not forget the arena itself, the MCI Center, or the Verizon Center, or whatever version it is now. That is a classic wrestling building. I mean, that is you can name off the top of your head. Starrcade '97, Hogan and Sting was in that building.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan was in that building. That's a building with history, so it was a perfect spot.
I wrestled in that building. I mean, it's a great wrestling building, and I hear you, and I think, look, there's enough of the pie to go around for everybody. I don't like the word war. One thing, and Vince Russo and I were kind of ribbing about this online in tweets, because he has this, he's big into conspiracy theories, and I like to fuck with it sometimes too, just as fun. But he's like, well, WWE's in on this all along, like the master plan. But if you think about it, WWE actually issued a statement today online about that. Congratulating I get it. It's definitely horseshit. But think about that.
It's crazy.
When has that ever happened? And why is it happening?
It's unbelievable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's unbelievable because
I'm just it's fun. It's fun stuff.
Can you imagine, though, back in '95 when that war started, can you imagine WCW getting a congratulatory mention by the WWF and Vince McMahon if there was a victory? Can you even fathom that in '95?
No. It was so brutal back in those days, man. You couldn't even talk to you'd have buddies on that roster you couldn't even publicly say you spoke to. That's how deep it was. It's how deep it was. I mean, it really, when Scott and Kevin left for WCW and to do the whole NWO gimmick, that's kind of when I was stuck between a rock and a hard place because I wasn't getting booked anymore. Not that they were punishing me or anything. I wasn't in the curtain call or anything like that, but it was like, they were telling me, Peach, get your release. We'll get you paid down here. I'm not saying it's Aldo or anything like that, but we'll get you another gimmick. We'll get you paid. So shit was heavy. I couldn't, there was heat. There was legitimate heat. So I couldn't imagine anything like that happening today. Or back then, I should say, not today.
And then you throw yourself on the other side of it, too, when you're in ECW. And again, I'm going to just keep on using the parallel of 98, just because with all the wrestling that's on TV now, if we had that in 98, I shudder to think if I would have grown up past the age of 15, because I probably would have dropped dead from the overload of stuff going on at that point in time. But, you talk about 95, talk about 98, we talk about now. Do you think that this is the best time to be a wrestling fan with the amount of wrestling that is out there?
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Just with technology, with the way we just have access. We literally are. We're. If you ever listen to Joe Rogan and his podcast, which I'm a huge fan of Rogan, he talks about us being basically already cyborgs. We have a device that we have on our hands that'll tell us pretty much any answer we want. If we want to, Google something, we have all the answers already on our phone. We have access to any information we want that is available, at least. So it's just such an amazing way to express to fans, like, look, there's New Japan Wrestling, shit that the hardcores knew about for a long time. People that were in the business trading tapes, the old RF video days and stuff like that. But, there were a lot of people that aren't, normal people that may have been like, oh, wrestling's cool, but they didn't know. Now they're exposed through social media and through Twitch and YouTube and whatever channels are out there nowadays. So many, AAA in Mexico, all over the world, so many great promotions. England is its own entity. I mean, for such a small territory of land, they have probably per capita some of the biggest, gates and draws in the wrestling business. I mean, they really, like, their indies sell out at thousands and thousands, like 2,000-3,000 people on a weekly basis. So, right. I mean, it gives fans, it opens up Pandora's box of like, wow, like, I really dig this stuff. And like, I didn't know this was available, and holy cow, like, this is cool too. And, you're just being opened up into this whole new genre that you maybe not have, weren't aware of. So it's just fun for everybody. And again, bottom line, for me, at least as a performer, as a 45-year-old, 27-year vet, keeps me employed, which is important because this is how I feed my family. So if we're allowed to use that history and use whatever knowledge and pass it, pay it forward and continue to do what we love to do and entertain fans and turn new fans on. And what the heard today, I think it was on Busted Open with Dreamer and Bubba Ray, that the number on like the demographic, the highest demographic they had for AEW was like 20 to 30-year-olds, 30-year-old male, 20 to 30-year-old males. But what that tells me is it's like shit's cool again.
Yeah.
It's like I remember in the 90s when DX and NWO got over, but then I also remembered when I was in ECW, I'd go to Hot Topics and I'd see a Just Incredible shirt or an ECFEW shirt or a Sabu shirt. And I'm like, well, we thought we made it, right? And now you're seeing that again. And, they can't keep these shirts in their stores. And not to mention what Pro Wrestling Tees does. That's a whole different thing. But
Right.
like it's mainstream again to where the hipsters, and believe me, I'm not necessarily a fan of hipsters, but no disrespect. But the hipsters are in. Everybody's kind of all in, and wrestling has become a kind of cool. We get it now. Back then, we were in that pseudo kayfabe era where still we're trying to kayfabe a little and blah blah blah. But now it's just like, look, it is what it is, and everybody I think appreciates the art form. They appreciate the hard work. They appreciate the energy. How could you deny the energy in the ring? Even myself, when Cody made his entrance last night on AEW, I watched it live. I teared up. I have no connection to this kid. But just knowing the moment and the gravity of it, it's like, even I teared up. I'm like, wow. So it has a strong connection to people who truly love our business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really resonates. It resonates, and it's cool.
No, that's
what sells tickets,
That's awesome, and I appreciate you sharing that, because that's a very cool little added. That entrance was huge, and it'll be historic, and everybody will look back at that and say that was the first one. But PJ, as we head to the wrap up here, just before we get into the plug again for the podcast, I just got to tell you, as knowing you as long as I have, I got to tell you, I love the embracing of Aldo and the Aldo mania that's running wild back on social media, and the appearances of Aldo Montoya. Are you embracing Aldo now? Are we loving the Aldo Montoya retro?
Look, why not? I have a couple of good friends in Connecticut. Their names are Doug and Dan Spring. And they said, look, dude, we'll make your gear. We're fans of the character. I didn't know them from anywhere. They just hit me up and like, we'll make your gear, get it done nice. And if you're interested, you could use it and do it. And I'm like, you know what? Janela's AEW shit. Like, they're doing retro stuff. And it's like, I've never really done it. Why not? I mean, it's everybody knows it's a rib. It's almost like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but why not? You know what I mean? It's not like, it's like, why not? It's not, it's who I was. It's who got me. Those years, actually, those formative years as Aldo really taught me everything about the business of pro wrestling. I learned from some of the greatest of all time in those years. So I actually hold those years very dear. The character was a joke, but nonetheless, I hold it with a lot of respect. And why not, dude? Just have some fun with it. And if fans are digging it, I'm doing some autograph appearances and, spot show here or there. So yeah, it's all good, dude. It's all in good fun, and that's what wrestling should be. Just good fun. That's why we get into this, because we love it and we like to enjoy ourselves and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think you should have taken the offer from the $1 Million Man, but that's just me talking. I don't know.
Oh, brother, I would have taken it. Looking back, I would have taken it too. But yeah. What am I going to do?
Oh, that's great. Now, I appreciate you jumping on with me tonight, PJ. Before we wrap up, please share with the listeners of the Two-Man Power Trip where they can find the information about the show itself. If they want to download the podcast, subscribe to the Patreon, as well as all the social media links and anything else going on in the world of the man, Just Incredible.
Well, basically my Twitter feed, which is my most, what I use mostly is at PJ Polacco, that verified Twitter account. And tomorrow is going to be the debut at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Vince Russo and I are going live, and we're going to, do the AEW review. Vince's service is Patreon. It has nothing to do with me, but it's patreon.com/Russo TWC, which is Truth with Consequences. That's his page, and it's only $3, guys. Like I said, it's and you get that content, so much content, and just please check it out. You won't be disappointed. I'm so looking forward to this. And another one thing that has nothing to do with the podcast, but I want to say, I am doing a movie, or no, not a movie, I should say. I'm shooting a pilot as a baseball coach in Monroe, Connecticut for a hit series that is coming out on the CW network that I cannot say yet what it is, but I am very excited and actually shoot this Saturday at night. I got some acting stuff going on too, so it's pretty neat. But yeah, man, definitely. Please check us out. Anything with just go to Vince Russo's Twitter page or the brand. I think it goes at the brand or Vince Russo on Twitter, and all the information is there. Or just go to my page at PJ Polacco, and you'll get all the information. But I really would hope you guys just give us a chance and enjoy it, because it's going to be really cool. We're going to dive real deep, and I think you'll enjoy the conversation because we got some really good stuff for you, and we've been working really, really hard for this first episode. So I hope you join us, and I hope you enjoy it.
You said it was pretty neat. You could have really just snuck in a Just Incredible right there. You didn't need to go neat. You could have just said Just Incredible.
I know. I don't want to always do this. I don't want to be so cheesy all the time. That's like my go-to when I have nothing else to say. I always do the catchphrase. Hey, but it's good to have a catchphrase, right?
Hey,
you can always do the.
It's all about the cheese.
It's just incredible.
It's all about the cheese factor, PJ. You got to sometimes ham it up. So that's the way I do it. But man, I appreciate it so much, and thanks for joining us. And we will talk to you soon.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. You know that you're family to me, dude. And thank you so much for being kind to me all these years when a lot of people wouldn't be. And I'll never forget that. So thank you so much, man. And have a great night. And I hope to catch up with you very soon.